women play every sport there is in the country except football. So why not football? And that's what it is. It's a league where these women have a lot of talent. They're very good athletes, and they like to play football. I mean, it's strange, but it's only strange in the sense that it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. I think when it does happen, I think people will really enjoy it. These are talented athletes. I mean, they're just more than hitting each other. I think they're talented athletes, and it'll be fun to watch. Being honest with you, I can't tell you exactly how it's going to go, but me as a fan, as a football fan, I would like to see them play. I don't know how it'll be. It might be great. It might not be. But I think it'll be interesting. Who thought that women boxing each other would be great, or wrestling with each other? So I think it's a physical thing. But I think football appeals to so many people, and seeing women play the game and play it not only with, I think with skill, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, we've seen, like in women in MMA in the UFC, Mike, Dana White used to say, no, it'll never happen. And now the women's division is so popular, exactly. A lot of times more popular than the men. Do you think that could happen here, where this this is
it'll never get more popular than men, but still, it can be very popular. And why not? I mean, if women want to play a man's sport, I call football a man's sport, go ahead and do it. And if they're going to knock the crap out of each other, more power to them, because that's what people want to see. And I mean, I don't say that to be smart. I say it because that's what they want to see. Oh, these women are
a man's sport.
Pretty good looking, and they can knock the crap out of each other. Well, we'll see how it works.
The whole kneeling thing in the NFL. You got guys saying that they're going to do it. I'm seeing all these baseball players now, different teams. Last night watching baseball, you got the Reds kneeling, the A's, the Giants. A lot of teams are kneeling. Athletes are kneeling. In your league here, you're the chairman of this thing. Is that going to be allowed if the women want to take a knee during the anthem? What's the policy on that for you guys?
Well, if it was up to me, I'd say no. If you can't respect our national anthem, get the hell out of the country. Then that's the way I feel. Of course, I'm old-fashioned. So I'm only going to say what I feel. I think there's a way that you protest, and there's a way you don't protest. You don't protest against the flag, and you don't protest against this country who's given you the opportunity to make a living playing a sport that you never thought would happen. So I don't want to hear all the crap. You want to try it. You don't, it's okay.
I just watched this video. And, yeah, I saw it and I knew I had to do a story on it. Mike Ditka, he is an American football player, and he's been on a few teams. I forget which teams because I'm not really into sports. It's not really relevant to me. But, he called himself ultra conservative once, and he was into politics so much that he thought about running against Barack Obama in 2004 for the Senate. Now, here's what's getting me with people like Mike Ditka, right? These are the same people who talk about small government, who talk about the Constitution, who talk about the First Amendment. But the minute you use your First Amendment and it pisses them off, they tell you to get the hell out of the country. They don't ask you why you're protesting. They just simply say, get the hell out of the country if you don't like it. Which I completely find, in politics, that's probably one of the biggest cop-outs I always hear when we talk about situations like this. Now, the George Floyd thing has been going on for like 2 months now. So, people are still protesting, and a lot of people have been kneeling in solidarity with what's been going on with George Floyd and the protests in the U.S. Now, he says there's another way to go about protesting, which that's another one I always hear. They say stupid shit like, "Oh, why don't you go to a police department and protest outside?" No, I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that when I have a national platform that'll get my message out right then and there? And a lot of these, I mean, they think football players do this for attention. Maybe some, but a lot of them are convicted, and they say, you know what, the money is not worth it to me. There's something going on in this country, and we need to address it. Now, instead of these conservatives coming out, these nationalists coming out, and then I should rephrase that, because there are a few good conservatives who still believe in liberty and still defend these people's right. Now, their main argument is that the NFL is a private business. Now, two things to that. One, the NFL takes subsidies from taxpayers. So if we don't approve of what they do, then we shouldn't be giving them our money. In fact, we shouldn't be giving anybody our money. It's not even a matter of whether they agree with us or not. We shouldn't be giving taxpayer money to private companies or corporations. That's not capitalism, that's corporatism. So we shouldn't be giving money to anybody at all. And, if these NFL coaches and owners are so American and believe in American values, if they care about that anthem so much, then why are they firing people for their First Amendment right? Like, okay, you have a right to fire them. Nobody's disagreeing with that. Nobody thinks that that you should be able to protest at work and not get fired. But our whole thing is, if you really gave a shit about the First Amendment and all the things you are pretending to be about, the Constitution, the First Amendment, liberty, you wouldn't have fired them to begin with. And you want to know why they're firing them? Because they're snowflakes. That, and you have half of the country who cares more about some Chinese-made cloth than their own people getting brutalized by big daddy government on a daily basis. Our constitutional rights are always being violated on a daily basis, but you give a fuck more about, you're more mad at somebody protesting for your people? You should be for your people, okay? That flag doesn't stand for what it's supposed to stand for. And there was a time in my life where I proudly put my hand on my chest and I sung that anthem. I repeated that pledge. But you know what happened? I woke up and finally realized our government is tyrannical. And when you have people who pretend to be for the government, who pretend to be for liberty, be for the First Amendment, meanwhile, you're supporting fascists? You're supporting people who are going against you're supporting government officials who are going against your people? Who are brutalizing your people? Okay, this isn't just about race. Race is an issue, but when it comes to the main point, it's a small issue. You want to know what the big issue is right now? Big daddy government violating our rights. And instead of being with your people, you want to say stupid shit like, oh, just move out of the country. That's a cop-out, okay? That's a cop-out. Did the colonies just move to Native American territories? Did they say, we don't like how you're treating us, and they just decided to move to Portugal? No. They fought for their land. They fought for their country. A lot of you people you sound like redcoats, okay? You sound like redcoats, blindly defending the police. I don't blindly defend rioters or protesters. I call that shit out. But you guys can't call your shit out. You guys can't call out police brutality. You yell out fake news, or Obama did it first. Which shows us how much standards you have compared to Obama. Okay? Mark Ditka doesn't know jack shit about the Constitution. He doesn't know anything about the First Amendment. And he's on the side who mainly pretends to be for it. I'm sick of these redcoats and these back the blue people not backing their own people up. Okay? You guys would have been bodied in the revolution. Our founding fathers would have bodied your ass because you would have been considered traitors. And if you really think for 1 second you know anything about the founding fathers, well, guess what? I have news for you statists and you redcoats. They were cop killers, tax evaders, and traitors. Everything you hate about these protesters, you hate about the founders because they would have been on that protest picket line right with them. But you don't give a shit, do you? You give a shit about banning flag burning and banning the First Amendment. Ironically, that flag standing for liberty. How about this? If you're so pissed off with people defending and practicing their First Amendment right, if you're so pissed off, why don't you listen to us? Why don't you stop to think for a second and say, hey, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe it's not okay for the president to gas his own people so he can take a fucking photo out with a Bible in his hand. Maybe it's not okay for the police to use excessive force. Maybe it's not okay for the police to shoot up a woman in her sleep over a drug raid while they were in plain clothing. Maybe it's not okay to shoot a fucking 11-year-old just because he has a toy gun. Maybe it's not okay to kill somebody in a hotel because they're drunk and you're giving them confusing directions. The chickens are coming home to roost. And if you guys don't listen to us, if you guys don't listen to these protesters, if you don't listen to the American people, you will have another riot on your hand. Because there are so many factors right now that are going against you and going against your narrative. People are getting pissed. The American people are getting pissed. There's a fucking pandemic going on right now. What is the government doing? Attempting to, yet again, give corporations another bailout while giving us crumbs. There's going to be another riot. There's going to be more chaos. And when George Floyd's killers are acquitted, because you can't prove, they're not going to be able to prove second-degree murder. They're not going to prove it. They're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to get that. There's going to be another protest. There's going to be more riots. There's an economic crash going on right now. There's a pandemic going on right now. I don't see the government giving us UBI. I don't see the government giving us Medicare for all. I just don't know what else to say to make you guys understand, man. These people, the government is not for you. These people are not for you, man. They have no problem killing and jailing their own people who are innocent. There are a few bad apples, don't get me wrong, but they're going about this so unconstitutionally and so unjustly, it's not even funny, and you guys don't give a shit. Y'all better wise up, and you better start questioning your government. Because I'm telling you now, people aren't just mad because they're not getting their fucking food stamps like you think.